Trigger warning for this episode, some of the content will be disturbing. Welcome back to Analogue, a hate story. What we're going to do right now is finish reading her messed up diary. The pale bride picked the worst of all possible days to throw another one of her childish fits, refusing to even get dressed for her interview. And this was the one with the Emperor himself. Not even my husband was able to get her to listen. He had to personally apologize himself for not being able to bring her his schedule, and lied about a sudden illness. "You have to do something about her," I said to my husband that evening. "She's completely out of control." "I know," he said. "That is quite clear." He looked so worried. I hugged him, and tried to comfort him. Everything would fall apart if something couldn't be done. She'd threatened to say something stupid and dangerous to the Emperor, and we were both scared that she might. "Maybe it's time to consider doing something drastic," I said to him. He nodded. "I know. I can only think of one idea. I do not like it. I would rather not. Even hitting her was far worse than I would have wanted." He explained his idea to me, and I agreed that it was terrible, and I didn't like it either, but it would stop her from arguing, stop her from ruining her own life. My husband was, as always, right. There was only one way. Recently, the pale bride's temperament has improved immensely. It isn't simply that now she's quiet. She's actually respectful and calmer. After rescheduling, she had an interview with the Emperor, and he was actually quite charmed with her. I'm just so happy, for her own sake, that she's finally stopped resisting the marriage. It's all coming together now. A date has been set for when she'll be sent to live with him. And in the meanwhile, things at home have been peaceful again for everyone. Actually, it's better than just that. I've been spending more time with her, of her own free will. I've been giving her advice for coping with marriage, and right now the girl actually listens politely. Otherwise, there's little else to write about. I wish there had been a better way to get her to behave, but in the end it seems to be working out. I still can't imagine how awful it would be if she refused to ever leave the home and simply made life hell for us. Or worse, if she'd gotten sent off and tried to pull any of that on her husband. She'd get sent back for sure. Maybe now things will finally start to come together for the family. I must admit for a time, I doubted the optimism that Jung-Soo expressed in the 319th year. But now it seems that he was right all along. What a relief. I can't believe she actually said that. It's wrong. It's completely wrong, and I can't believe she could have possibly thought that. Just unbelievable. Dearest Mother, the pale bride finally left to live with her new husband. As she isn't primary wife, there was no fanfare or ceremony for her departure itself. So instead, last night we had a special big feast to commemorate. I know I've said bad things about her before, but it's not just that I was happy to see her gone. She's been better since mother and father-in-law managed to get her to keep quiet. The thought of it still leaves me really uncomfortable. She was always just a confused child. I hate the fact that my family considers her so important and neglects my husband, and I certainly hate her for not appreciating that status and fighting it. But the fact that she doesn't understand the world, I can feel for that. It's not like I always understand myself. Regardless, it went very well. The big feast was my idea, and she was happy to help with the cooking. Earlier, she had spent the afternoon getting ready the dress she was going to wear when she arrived with mother-in-law, and seemed rather anxious about it. While we cooked, I opened the wine early and poured it for her. I think she needed it. I told her the same story I told you a while ago, about how scared I was when I first moved in. It seems as though it was a lifetime ago, and yet, despite all the strangeness, I have grown accustomed to it. You'll eventually grow to love him, I promised her, just as you promised me all those years ago. Appreciate how good you'll have it. You've read almost everything now. I know you've had faith in me, and I promise it hasn't been misplaced. There's just one more thing. I don't think you'll be surprised. You seem smart. I'm sure you've already guessed what it is. Still, go ahead. Ask it. Ask me the obvious question. Why did I kill them? Here, you want to know what could make me look at my father's face and be filled with so much hatred? You want to know how I could possibly think my whole family deserved to die? If you haven't already guessed, here's my last diary entry. I can't say it myself. I can't bring myself to, even now. Please, just read it. I don't think the music was this dark before. The evening where everything went wrong, where I thought I was going to win with my adopted parents. Well, I didn't. I lost. Making my stand, I wrote, just hours before it happened. Yeah, right. When I got called into the kitchen, they were both there. On one of the stove burners there was a knife. I thought it was a little bit odd, but didn't care. Father stared at me and said, "The fighting needs to end now." He was so sure of himself. Of course he was. He had every reason to be. But I stubbornly stood my ground. I said no. "I do not want to hurt you," he lied. "Just promise to be less argumentative and this can end peacefully." But I just had to fight back. I just had to say no. I just had to remind him I wasn't joking. I really will tell the Emperor that you hurt me and that you plotted against him. "No," he said, "you won't." He motioned at Mother and said, "Bring her over." She grabbed me, and I tried to dig my feet in, but it didn't work. Then Father pinned me against the wall with his whole body, and I kicked and screamed, desperately trying to get free, but it was no use. He was big, and I was small, sick, and weak and frail. Then he grabbed the knife from the stove, and I shrieked in horror. "No," I screamed at him. "Don't." But then Mother grabbed my mouth and held it open. I tried to keep screaming, but I was powerless and terrified. When he raised the knife toward me, I thought he was going to kill me. It was worse. The next thing I knew, I could taste disgusting flesh as he stuck his fingers in my mouth and pulled. "I'm sorry," Mother said. Then briefly I could taste the steel, then nothing but blood. All I could taste was so much blood, nothing but blood. Finally they let go of me, and I collapsed onto the floor. Why, I wanted to say, but I couldn't. I blacked out from the pain after that, but just before I did I could swear I heard Father say, "You will not argue with any man again." He was right, of course. That's why I gave up. That's why I wanted to kill them so much. It's really hard to talk about. It's just... I told you it would make sense, right? That there was good reason? Please tell me you don't think I've let you down. You understand, then. That means so much to me. I'm so glad. I don't know what I'd do if you didn't think... Well, thank you. I was terrified. I thought you might not. I'm so glad, thank you. Could we just talk a little more instead? There's something really important I need to tell you. I have really strong feelings. It's not like I've been pouring my heart out. I consider you to be really... Okay. Sorry. I was trying to read those, but she's deleting them as fast as they come up. I'm in love with you. I finally said it. This is so embarrassing. I know that I'm being silly, right? I mean, I'm sure I know what you're thinking, right? You think that's ridiculous. No, I mean, like, this girl was put into stasis, woke up at 14 hundreds of years later in a weird-ass future that women were not important and only existed to serve men, was treated like shit, her family cut her fucking vocal cords and married her off. Her life has sucked, so, like, her being like, "Oh, I love you, you've been nice to her," kinda makes sense. That's why I'm in love, because you manage to happily surprise me every time. I never thought I would find someone who understands me, someone who listens, who would hear my whole life story and doesn't hate me. You really have been wonderful. I know it's a lot to spring on someone just like that, and I don't even know if you were even a man or the sort of woman who would have a problem with that, and still unmarried. But if you are, do you think we might have a chance together, even just a chance? Like, what do you say? Because she was gonna want to hear yes. But no, because you're here to collect data on the ship. And she's an AI at this point. Sure. That's the most amazing thing I've ever heard in my life. Thank you so much. I've been thinking about this for a while, and it's a little embarrassing, I know, but we don't have to get rushed to get married or anything. I mean, you know how scary it was last time I was a wife. I'd really just like to be with you as an equal. Does that sound right to you? I really do love you. It's funny, isn't it? I don't know almost nothing about you. I have no idea what you look like. I have no idea how you talk. I have no idea of what's supposed to be the most important thing about a person, if you're a man or a woman. I have no idea how old you are, although I suppose you must be much younger. Or maybe older, depending how you look at it. Nor do I have any idea where you're from, or even your name. But I know that you take me seriously, that you understand me, and that you don't treat me as something less just for being a woman. I know that talking to you makes me feel better than I've ever felt in my life, and that's good enough for me. It's far better than I've ever had, so... Very well, I'll decompile myself now. That way you can just drop to the terminal, type download to copy everything to your ship, including myself. It should only take a few days to do a complete transfer. I'll see you soon, alright? So this is how my sister-in-law felt on her wedding night. Okay. That's an ending. Incoming message. Good work on recovering the files. I just spoke to the sponsor's representative on audio. He sounded really pleased with what you deliver. I've credited your account with the standard payment. Listen, I've got another job lined up for you. It's on Earth, but it sounds to me like after the last job you could use a change of pace. There's a man whose wife has what? What does... Please? What was the rest of that? Okay, this time we're gonna reject her because I really want to read the rest of this. I want to pull mute back up if I can. There was something else I wanted to ask you. Doesn't have to be as your wife or anything. I'd rather... Will you please take me with you? Can you take me with you as a passenger? No. I thought you were better than everyone else. I thought maybe you'd actually care about me, but no. You're just like the rest. You're just like everyone else. What more is there to say then? Okay, we're gonna try and override her now. I think I'm going to have to end this here because I've got to figure out how to go back and get mute to work again so we can read the rest of whatever the hell's going on. So I will do that in the next video. See ya!